So, good morning, respected judges and my dear colleagues. I am here to present my free paper on nature and nurture model of keratoconus. I am Anjana Karunakaran. My AIOS number is K19063. So, let me first tell you what is nature and nature model of keratoconus. So, in a eye, we know different factors will affect pathogenesis of disease. So in keratoconus, eye rubbing, inflammation, allergy, along with gene mutations can lead to the formation of the disease. So what exactly leads to the formation of disease is what we are going to try to decipher. So we know a large percentage of population are smokers, but do they all develop lung cancer? No. Similarly, if you look in the population, a large number of people do rub their eyes, but they all do not develop keratoconus. So this brings us to our research question, what exactly triggers keratoconus? So what we did was we have evidence that allergy and inflammation play a role in the etiology. But what exactly are we missing in the pathogenesis? Is it time to consider the genetic and epigenetic factors? So let me just tell you what is meant by genetics and epigenetics. So DNA is converted to RNA and then to proteins. So study of DNA is called genetics, and if you study RNA and proteins, it's epigenetic or local factors. So DNA can be studied from the blood sample by genome analysis, and for epigenetics, we can take RNA studies by qPCR methods or protein studies by spectroscopy. So in genome analysis also, there are different strategies. We can go for family of deceased individuals or population studies, or if we are clear about those genes causing disease, we can do a candidate gene analysis. We went for a population association study, and for technique, you can look at the whole gene, which is very expensive. Otherwise, you can look for the protein coding part or exome. We did the exome analysis. So how did we proceed with our study? The question we were following was, is keratoconus genetically and epigenetically driven? So what we did was we took a blood sample to do the genome analysis, and we took the epithelium to do the RNA or gene expression studies. We did the pedigree analysis of the individuals with keratoconus. We took their blood sample and we proceeded for whole exome sequencing. What we got as results was 2 mutations in the collagen gene. Collagen 4 mutation is a novel mutation which is reported for the first time, and collagen 6 mutation is not there in any database of keratoconus, and we got it for the first time. Now, for the gene expression, we took 23 keratoconus patients and 25 controls. We collected the corneal epithelium and plotted the gene expression plots. What we got was collagen 1 and 4 was decreased in keratoconus along with lysyl oxidase enzyme, which is an endogenous cross-linker. So what our results show is a permutation and combination. So if we see collagen 4, we got both the mutation and the decreased expression. For collagen 6, we got the mutation, but we didn't get the gene expression. And for collagen 1, we didn't get a mutation, but we got a gene expression. So this is because of the differential distribution of collagen in the cornea. Collagen 6 is mainly in the duas and the posterior corneal stroma. Maybe this is why we didn't get the expression from the epithelium. So this proves that genetic and epigenetic factors have a role to play in the keratoconus. So how do we translate this to our clinics? So we know that collagen 4 is found also in the basement membrane of liver and kidney. Collagen 6 in brain, heart, and bones. So any mutation will lead to systemic effects in the body, so hence the importance of systemic examination. Our wish list will be to bring gene sequencing to the clinics, for which we need to develop a gene chip with known target gene to do sequencing easily at affordable prices in the clinics. So whenever a patient walks to our clinic at a very young age with rapid progression with family history of keratoconus, we have to keep in mind of the genetic factors, do a sequencing. If we do find a new mutation, this mutation gets added onto our gene panel to make our gene panel more robust so that we do not miss any mutations. And then we proceed on to systemic examination, genetic counseling, as most of the genetic genes found are dominantly inherited, and maybe we'll proceed on to gene therapy. For the nurture part, we know ocular allergy and systemic allergy play an important role, so we do have to treat that before proceeding on to any treatment modality. Let me tell you a case example. This is a 9-year-old boy diagnosed with keratoconus. He has complaints of eye rubbing and itching. So what we did was we took the blood sample, we found collagen mutation along with a high IgE of 2500. So we referred the patient to the immunologist who proceeded with a patch testing, and we found the patient is allergic to cotton and almonds. So we treated with avoidance of allergens, SLED therapy, and we also gave him Trehalose eye drops. And after 6 months, we showed that the epigenetic modulation alone can cause a favorable outcome even when there is a gene mutation present. So what our study adds is novel mutation in collagen 4 and 6, and that epigenetic modulation can lead to favorable cross-linking outcomes. So what our work in progress will be to build an animal model of keratoconus, try gene therapy modalities for targeted treatment, and then eventually translate to human trials. So the limitation of the study, this is novel mutation. This has to be replicated in other geographical area to validate the study. Thank you.